Hello, hello.
Ray. Hi, Maggie.
Good afternoon. Hey.
Good afternoon, ladies.
I'm going to deal with a fussy baby here for a minute, and then I'll be right back on.
You're amazing.
Distracted.
Hey, Ava.
Hello.
Hi, Eva. Michelle, are you able to pull on the notes that say recommendations?
Yes, I can pull that up.
Okay. I think Jason might be in it right now, so.
Hey, kudos for that message you all sent out, Jen.
Oh, thanks. You know, one step at a time.
Yes, exactly.
Eva, are you back in school tomorrow?
School went back today, but my brother and I are going to stay at home.
You are, okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was just if it was 6th and 7th grade or 7th and 8th grade today.
Jen, are those the blue screen blocker glasses or legit glasses?
They're just so I can see the screen. They're readers, but they're very helpful.
I just walked in on my husband and he was wearing glasses. I'm like, you don't wear glasses. He's like, oh, they're my new blue screen glasses. Didn't realize it was a thing.
I need to figure out how to get rid of the glare. Because it looks like it's all shiny and yours don't look like you have a glare on yours, Jen.
Well, that's maybe because there's, it's just a power 1.0, but it's 1.0 is helping a lot.
Eva, do you have plans for spring break?
I think we might head to the mountains, I think, and spend a few days there. And then I think that's about it, staying safe. My brother and I have a favorite record store up there. And so we have a little bit of a birthday money to spend. So I think we might do it there.
A record store, wow.
Yeah, we love music.
That's awesome. No, there's nothing like thumbing through old albums, right?
For sure.
All right. Hello, Hillary. Welcome. Hi, Ray. Hi, Maya. Hi, Dr. Johnson. Hi, is it Elisa? Is she on? I see her name. Hi, Felicia. Welcome. Hi, Jen Cedarquist. I can see we're in your classroom. Jason, are you okay to get started? Are we all good to get started? All right, let's get started, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday, March 30th Equity Task Force meeting, everyone. So tonight we do have an agenda, but it's the agenda is pretty straightforward. We want to look at we want to read the public comment first, and then we want to Jason, do you want to read that, or do you want me to read it? Go ahead.
Give me a second. I just need to pull it up.
While he's pulling it up, if everyone, again, we're going to look at that recommendations, titled Recommendations Organization Chart version 4, that I think it was sent out to everyone.
Michelle, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Do I need to read like the public comment preamble?
I don't think so, Jason.
All right. Thank you. Tonight's public comment is from Matt McCool, Equity Task Force. I'm respectfully requesting the Equity Task Force open meetings for live public comment rather than limiting public comment to online written submissions only. As more of the community becomes aware of the school board engaging in group identity politics, there will be more people wanting to speak out opposing this leftist indoctrination of students. There are many who believe an individual's identity is defined by their actions, not their race, gender, or sexuality. Since task force members are willing to publicize their gender identity, by displaying preferred pronouns, why not publicize their sexual identity as well? After all, if the school board believes it is within their purview to identify the sexuality of 7th graders, then task force members should publicize their sexual identity as well. There needs to be an open and honest debate on the agenda of this task force, especially in regards to equity versus equality and equal outcome versus equal opportunity. However, to have that debate, there must be diversity and inclusion, not just demographic diversity, but intellectual diversity. The task force needs to value diversity of opinion, and members should publicize their political identity to validate their diversity of ideologies in this group. I'm looking forward to helping advance the narrative of this task force. Respectfully, Matt McCool, former Hermosa Beach City Commissioner. Thank you. I just forgot that I didn't change my pronouns. Let me adjust that now.
Thanks, and remember everyone, we just hear public comment. I know Jason has reached out to Matt and requested a conversation with him. So, all right, we're gonna move on to looking at the recommendations. If everyone's good with doing that today, we feel like we're going to need to get in front of the board at the April board meeting and want to come prepared. And so this is really our last meeting before that meeting, because I know we go on spring break. So everyone probably will shut their brains down, hopefully, for a few days. But in doing so, I think that today the real work is going to be in reviewing this document with a lot of good eyes and opinions, and thinking. I think thinking about it from how, we're recommending, making some recommendations to the board. The board will have a kind of a yay, nay, or wanting more information potentially. And then my understanding is then the district would take the recommendations on and move the process forward from there. So we're kind of getting the game plan already, and then handing it over to the district to then really go into the actual game and actually coming back to the board with recommended game plan. Is that how you see it too, Jason, Maggie?
Yes,
Just to add a comment, on April 13th, we will have one last meeting, and that meeting will allow us to prepare for the board meeting itself. I know we had talked, I think it was Erin who had volunteered her PowerPoint skills. I don't know if there was anybody else, but that will be at that meeting. We can work on the presentation to see who'd like to tackle what part.
That will also be an opportunity when we're meeting with Sherry Atwater, the consultant who we're going to be working with for our professional development.
Sorry, I got my 13th and 14th mixed up. So yes, so great, there is one more meeting. So we can fine tune this today and then continue to fine tune it. And then, you know, if there's additions that people want to make today, feel free to let's talk about it. This is a 15-page document. It includes a lot of things you have seen before and recommendations, obviously, that we've created and made over the course of since November. I think it might work better or work the best if we kind of, you know, I would kind of break this apart into groups and then have each group kind of spend 15 minutes on a certain section and then really take notes, whether that's like you want to type it out while you're on the Zoom here all together, but on your own private typing and send it to us collectively or let us know collectively what you think after those 15 minutes in your section. And then we can kind of rotate sections. I don't know, how does that sound, everyone?
Can we get into breakouts here at the Zoom?
I don't think we can. So that's why I think I might just assign people some page numbers in groups.
Just to explain, Jen, as well, it's just because this is a public meeting, so it has to be on all public has to have access to it.
So the way I kind of see the meeting going is we will break up into like, let's take 10 minutes to read and review, take notes, and a 5-minute kind of share. I don't know, 5 minutes share out, and then take 10 more minutes. Does that sound like a plan? Yeah. Yep. Okay, great. So let's take the mission. So we've broken it into parts. So before we dive in, let's look at the whole document together. There's a mission and vision of the Equity Task Force, what we would say is our why of existing. Then there's a section called the ongoing district orientation. So to me, that would be, or to us, that would be, you know, where we want how we want the district to kind of position itself regarding equity. And then, okay, sorry, Michelle, I was thinking I was controlling this. Keep scrolling on down. Then you'll see a section that's called glossary. So we tried to just make sure that there were the terminology, if we're going to be using it in this document, that we all kind of have an agreement that this is what these terms are going to mean. Keep scrolling down, Michelle. Then there's an assumptions, which at the very end of that, which means, you know, if there's not, it's like a date assumption. Then on this part, this is the actual equity resolution that was passed in September. And so we've taken out the parts of the like kind of to-dos within the resolution and kind of went through each section and gave it, you know, we called out what it said in the resolution. We put what a status was of that section and what some potential next steps are, and we can discuss that. And you'll see a lot of it says, you know, the district to present a plan on things. So you'll keep going down there, Michelle. I think it's towards the bottom, maybe page 7. And then you'll come to, keep going. This is all part of the resolution. And then you'll stop, yep, right here. You'll come to on this page, it says recommendations from the ETF. So this is kind of what we have done with our group right now, and the recommendations that fall into kind of 3 different categories: intervention, professional development, governance/communication, and HR. Sorry, 4 categories, but 2 main ones: intervention and professional development. So these would be our recommendations, and then potentially some like desired outcomes that you could see down the line. And then the last section is an appendix, which I think we should need to provide to the board on what are some of the resources that we've used. Okay, so that's how the document is broken out. So if we want to start with a first 10-minute section on the very top, I just want to make sure we are going to give ourselves enough time. So let's take 10 minutes here with our mission, vision of equity and the ongoing district orientation. Any questions before you get started?
Jen, could you share this with us? I looked at the invites and I don't see anything attached, but I'd rather kind of print it and look at it rather than look at the screen some more.
Yeah, no worries. Sorry, I thought it was sent to you.
It might be in one of the emails, but I didn't see it in either of the reminders today. Thanks.
Michelle, can you do that or should I do that? I see Michelle's in the document, so maybe she's trying to do the send. Michelle, does everyone else have the document? I see Maya's a yes. Eva, you a yes? Ray? Just a thumbs up? Thumbs up? So Jen, I'm just trying to.
I'll reshare it with her. Michelle, I got it.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else need it sent to them again?
Yeah, it's probably in here somewhere. I didn't know if there were changes since last time, so I wanted to reprint
Oh
it.
yeah, there is. Felicia,
I would like to print it. That's a great idea. And that'll be at the top of my.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a link, Jen, Cedar Quest. It was like I wouldn't even know where to find it now with my email, but I can try to, Jason, if you can't,
Sure.
No, I have the document. I'm just going to reshare it with Ms. Price. Do you need it too, Maya?
No, I have it. I printed it, thankfully, this morning.
Okay, so I'm going to say it's 4:14 now. Let me know, Felicia and Jennifer, when you've received it. So
Thank you. All right, got it.
Felicia, it's the Caltech email, right?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Felicia. Felicia, I just kicked it to you, okay?
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Sometimes there's a little bit of delay on these Google shares, so just a heads up.
okay, so let's regroup at 4:24. I'll be the timekeeper. And again, please take notes on your own sheets. And then if there's anything we're going to revise and add or change, we'll do it then. And we will just watch you all work. Just watch you read it. I'm just joking. Sorry. All right, let's come back together and I'll pull up my document here. And let's I will open the floor to whoever is interested in. Does anyone have any comments, questions, concerns, additions? We want to just make sure I don't want to like over harp on time, but we want to make sure we do get to the recommendations. So we're going to move everybody along pretty quick here today. So let me know what you think about any other concerns, questions, or comments in this section.
I just had a quick question.
Yeah, go for it, Vivian.
It's in the ongoing district orientation section.
Yep.
Just the part after it lists all the protected classes and it says they aren't barriers to academic achievement. Would it just be academic achievement? Because earlier you were saying because I feel like it should be success in all fields, whether it's like achievement in school and extracurriculars like sports or like other activities or like social achievement, and then like they have healthy relationships with their peers. I feel like that's success in school. So I don't know if academic achievement is the only one we want to highlight.
What if we said school achievement?
Oh, okay.
I'm just throwing an idea, just to all encompassing.
Yeah. I just think there's a lot of factors to school.
School success.
Well.
To school success, should we change it to that?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other comments, thoughts?
Yeah, I just have a style comment. That paragraph / sentence under ongoing district orientation, it's a lot to be in one sentence. I would just recommend maybe for effect that it would be good to try to break it up into 2 independent sentences. I just feel like you kind of get lost like partway through it with all of the commas and all of the lists, that I think it could be a little more effective, not as one really, really, really long sentence.
And I'm with you, Jen. My suggestion was going to be to take it out completely and just start with "we affirm our commitment" or "we are committed," only because it's the same sentences up above. And so I don't know if that was intentional or if we can even, we're committed to the mission and vision of the district's equity task force, and then say "and confirm." I just don't know that we need the same sentence twice in two different sections.
I second less is more.
Anybody else? I'm about to press the delete button.
Delete.
Yay.
Aye.
Okay, so we're going to start with that sentence. Everyone okay with that?
I think reads cleaner, and we affirm our commitment, or "we are committed." But I like keeping it clean. Thank you.
Why was "have a chance" highlighted on top? Was that because we were considering?
I didn't know if it was I was wondering if that was, will they have a chance, or where all students will succeed?
Right.
We've discussed.
We talk about equitable education, and we talk about
all students have an opportunity to succeed.
And we want it to be the same opportunities. We're talking about equality, equity. So yeah, I kind of put an equal, equitable something there. I mean, we don't need to keep saying the word, but we want to make sure it's very clear that all students are given the same opportunities for success.
You just say "for all students to succeed." And just leave it there too.
For all. What's that?
Yeah.
Anything else in this section?
I think we need "where" instead of "for," but that's, I can go through later. I don't want to always be our.
Where changes the after the barrier-free environment, where all students to succeed.
Where all students can succeed.
I think that we're back.
I think environment is 4, oh, I'll go back and do the agreement issues later. We don't want to do that here.
Okay, Felicia, you got that as your assignment?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I just have a quick question for the second paragraph in
Yep.
the ongoing district. So for, I think it was, the last, so to do this HBCSD going forward, and then so school climate data and district practices to inform our goals, are HBCSD and then us ETF, are those two separate things, or is it the same thing?
So this becomes, I think this mission and vision of the Equity Task Force is kind of why the Equity Task Force is created. The second paragraph where the ongoing district orientation section is really just kind of the mission and vision of what the district should adopt, is what we recommend the district should adopt.
Okay, got it.
Any other thoughts and questions, concerns, flags?
To take that, Jen, one step further, then it would be, would our transform into its goals? And maybe this is a task for Felicia in part of her alignment.
Felicia, did you take that note?
Yep.
Okay,
And
great.
she's right. It's
My Grammarly is not turned on this particular, but thank you. All right, so let's move on to glossary. And if we can just take a smaller amount of time to confirm the glossary, just because I want us to get into the kind of meat and potatoes. So glossary will take about 5 minutes or less, 5 minutes, 4:35. Unless everyone's finished with the glossary. Is everyone finished with the glossary already? Does anybody need time with the glossary? No one needs time with the glossary. Okay, great. Well, then let's go to comments on the glossary. Questions. Maggie and I pulled some of these terms from the Annie E. Casey Foundation document that we had agreed to was kind of going to be our framework. We pulled some from Google and some from the dictionary.
Can you scroll up for just a second, Michelle?
Yeah. Go ahead.
The only thing we make a point of differentiating and distinguishing between equity and equality. So I'm just looking to see if there was a way we could kind of navigate that here. That's not, I mean, those terms are used interchangeably, but they're not. So it might be helpful to kind of include that.
Yep, good point.
It is in there. It's not bolded as a separate term, but if you look in the second paragraph of equity, equality is defined.
Okay, I thought I read that. So
but we could pull it. We could pull it out so it's in the same.
Yep, that's perfect. I kept thinking I read that.
Can we talk a little bit about the sentence, like equity, equality aims to promote fairness and justice, but it can only work if everyone starts from the same place and needs the same things. It's just, I guess with things and, they're not really specific nouns. So what are we saying starts from the same place and needs the same things?
Any suggested noun synonym?
I mean, I'm not sure about the assumption that everybody needs the same thing. So what do we mean by needs the same things? I guess that's what I'm trying to flesh out here. What are we talking about when we say needs the same things? So are those things fairness and justice? Is it relating back to that?
I'm pulling up an alternate definition here that I can share with the group in just a minute.
I'm just thinking about how I think about it personally, but. I'm assuming that means like universally, not just with fairness and justice.
Mhm.
I'm gonna just highlight that section.
What about the sentence above it? Where does that fit?
This I just took it directly from the Annie Casey Foundation's equity definition, so
Okay.
it can live in our document. It can be deleted from our document.
It seems like it's a concluding statement to the equity definition, if I'm reading that right, Jen.
Yes, that is what I understood.
That's
Yeah, that was, I think that was Felicia's question, just like where.
So, like, does it exist here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had separated and made equality its own definition.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we had that connected because it connects nicely, but on its own, I wasn't sure where.
Got it. Maggie is looking up another version of equity or equality, and any other questions or concerns or highlights in this section? The only thing to just a highlight to everyone where it says target categories, it's just wanting everyone to know that's the multiple different kinds of populations we're talking about when we refer to the group as target categories as you go. That may not be what we want to, the words we want to use to call that, call all the groups together. I'm not sure the right term. I don't really like target categories personally, but if someone has can better that one, that would be great.
Can we just say identities?
And then Jen, you probably see in inclusion where there's that big jumble where there are no spaces between the words.
Let's see. In which section?
Being if you look at inclusion, the first line, being included with group or structure.
Under identities, would we include class with socioeconomic statuses?
I'm not sure. Actually, I think we just identified it like this in our resolution. I think
that's good.
Is that the same thing? Is that not the same thing?
Yeah, that's what I was making sure that's how we thought about it, but that's how I think it's included there.
I added a definition of equity from a framework from Awake to Woke to Work, Equity in the Center. I'll share that link as well.
I don't think that equity is the definition that's being questioned. I think it's equality, and I think it's over.
Got it. I'll look on that one.
Same things, and then maybe since in what I noticed in the equity definition that it has to do with it just. I mean, maybe rather than same thing, say same treatment or same access or
access, opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have to define it. It's good to get definitions from other places, but we want to make sure if it's in this glossary that we're really, when we use the term equality in the document, that we're talking about the equity task force and that the definitions match. So I think that's a good idea, Jason, to kind of link it with some earlier language that was used in the intro.
Can you just, Jason, can you type in where you are talking about? I just lost you on that one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna highlight just like it literally is like a word, okay. Right, Jen? That's in question, yeah.
Are you going to fill in the word?
Give me a hot minute, and I'm gonna go look up for a second, and I'll
Move it along. Let's go, people.
I'm gonna solve this thing right
Yeah.
here. Give me a second. Jen, you do the same. Let's go look up there together.
Okay.
Which that Jen, not this Jen.
Oh, Jen, you Jen.
We're both
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
Jen.
I'll be Jennifer.
Jen C. I would say Gen C, but that doesn't really help either.
No.
Okay. Any other definitions or glossary terms? If you think of one as you're going along here between now and April 13th that we just haven't included, please let us know. Obviously, we can add it or change it or make a recommended revision.
Jen, in the chat, I just put in the bottom one, it's another definition for equality is an evenly distributed access to resources and opportunity necessary for a safe and healthy life. There's also the uniform distribution of access to ensure fairness.
I like that language a lot.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, if it doesn't work, I just added in the words from the top that we use to describe such.
So I think the question for us all would be, which one do we want to use? The evenly distributed access to resources and opportunities necessary for a safe and healthy life, uniform distribution of access to ensure fairness, or the one that's already there?
Simpler the better.
I really dislike the second sentence where like it does a comparison between equity and equality. I don't know if that, I feel like that interpretation is confusing.
Okay, how about we do that, guys?
Maybe instead of evenly distributed, we just say equal or equitable distribution of resources and opportunity necessary for a safe and healthy life. I'm just not a fan of even, but I don't want to wordsmith this thing to death.
Like so.
Or distribution and access, or access and distribution maybe, to resources and opportunity. To resources and opportunities necessary for a safe and healthy life.
Alicia's gonna do the last pass.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to wordsmith this to death, so I'm sorry.
No problem.
No, it's good.
Yep. Anything else in that section? If not, let's move on to the next one. We can always return, circle back. Okay, so remember this section is the equity resolution from September 23rd, 2020. And what we did was we went through again and pulled all the kind of to-do language out and recognized whether it was complete or partially complete or incomplete and gave a next step regarding it. And it may not be, you know, we may disagree or want to discuss the next steps on that. Has everyone read this section? I see nods. Anybody need more time? It's okay if you say yes, because we can all use more time on things. Okay, then should we take each line by line? Or how would we, are there some that we're just like, yep, we're okay with, thumbs up, or should we?
I recommend, since the list is extensive, that people pull items rather than trying to go one by one.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
You're welcome.
All right, well, feel free to start, anyone.
for the 1A, are we gonna leave the list or are we gonna change that to just identities, like for what the glossary said?
1A.
Just for that first box under the equity priority 1.
Does that box not match Eva to the glossary?
I was just wondering if instead of having that list, if you're just gonna change it to the 1 word.
So this is the actual language that was in the resolution. So we weren't gonna try to change that because that's already been approved. So it was more just like we just wanted to show if this is the resolution that we had talked about publicly and got the board to commit to. And so that language to me doesn't really change.
Got it.
Stays the same.
I think the reference was that we gave those identity definitions up above in the glossary. And do we call them out or do we start to just call them out by the identities in that?
I think in the recommendation, these aren't the recommendations. So in the recommendations, we can go back and do that. This is just literally the resolution that was passed in September. And this is the language from that resolution.
Oh, got it.
We just wanted to, I felt like if I'm a board member, my question would be, okay, so let's go back and see what we had said we were going to set out to do. Did we do it? And then where are we along this process? That's how we oriented on this particular section.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The thing I wanted to point out, since I'm sure everyone will have something to say at some point here, but like on 2B, for example, as the Equity Task Force, the resolution was tasked us with coming up with an equity agenda that will create a tool, like a rubric, a checklist, of guiding questions to evaluate the instructional practices. But I think, this is just my opinion, but as we've worked through some of what we want to give as recommendations, I think one of the recommendations we're giving as a group, it seems like, is that we want the district to come back with a plan, and that could be included in the plan. But I'm not sure, is that how everyone else is reading this? Because some of the things the Equity Task Force can do, and some of the things it's going to be better that the district owns and comes back and says, hey, this is what we think we should do, and this is how we should scaffold what we're going to do, what years we're going to do it, with what resources we have to do it with. So at this point, I'm going to ask, did anybody have any more questions or comments about this section? Jason, Maggie, Felicia, Hillary?
Sorry, don't mean to nitpick, but do we want to say will establish or establishes?
Show us, tell me exactly where. It's a long section.
We'll start at 1B, the equity agenda. Established or establishes, the passive will establish.
Okay, just to remember how to read this, everybody. Everything in the resolution section, everything in the resolution section will not be changed because it is the actual resolution already. That's already been.
That's right. Right. Sorry.
No problem.
That's all good, right?
Yep. It's not easy to navigate. All right, so let's, if you do have a point of view on this or a change you'd like to see made or a comment, we can circle back to it, but let's move on then to the recommendations. Okay, we're gonna move on to page, I'm pretty sure it's page 11. And again, I'll ask the question, did everyone get a chance to read this section? And if you haven't, a good thank you, Jen. If you haven't and you need time to look through it, let's take, it's 4:49. So give me a sense of how many people have actually need time to look through it. Thank you. Okay, so let's take at least 10 minutes to do that, and then or 15 minutes to do that, and then we'll take another 20 minutes to kind of comment. So I'll circle everybody back again at 5:04. Just doing a time check with everyone. How's everyone doing? We still need more time? More time? More time? Okay. Felicia, are you good? Are you
Yeah, I can go.
okay? All right, let's take a look here, people. So again, remember we have broken these were recommendations that the task force has come up with along the way that we've been working together. And then we've tried to bucket them into 4 different areas with recommendations, trying to be, I would say, remember, it's like a fine balance between we want to make a recommendation and we want the district to kind of own it, right? So there's like that to me is the fine line. So you want to make a recommendation that the district can then say, you know what, we want to do this, and we are going to figure out a plan to do it versus being super prescriptive. I think there's a fine balance, but then there's the balance between wanting to make sure that everyone gets pushed just enough to feel the change. So we are open for comments, conversation.
I have like starting at just the intervention for the desired outcomes.
Yep.
It's students, staff, and stakeholders. Is that redundant, or did we want to point out which stakeholders?
There is a desire to point out which stakeholders, and that's because of the types of surveys that we're using.
Got it. Okay.
So should we say staff, students, stakeholders being like parents, community members? Who are the stakeholders? Just staff and students?
I mean, to me, so I'm going to speak for the district standpoint, because to me, like, this particular recommendation will be measured in multiple ways. I mean, like, so for one, I mean, like, it would be measured through staff PD survey. I mean, like, which is a post after staff PD survey where you just take feedback from that one-off staff development. 2 is, I mean, like, for students and other stakeholders, which being the community, would be through the panorama SEL data, which would not be regular PD, but like that is, you mean, like, you know, a measure that would support indicating, you mean, like, you know, the effect, right? It's not a direct effect, you mean, like, but it's definitely a means of measure. And then you also have the California Healthy Kids Survey, which is measuring something very similar in regard to school climate. Again, not a direct effect, but like an outcome measure. So I would say if you were to liken it to academic outcomes, you mean, like, when you do staff development and, you know, let's say we were doing staff development and reading through the entire year, I mean, like, we would be looking at CAS scores and reading, you mean, like, to know whether or not, you mean, like, the staff development we were providing is having an effect. It's not a direct, you mean, measure, but you mean, like, it definitely is related.
So just to wrap that up, Jason, stakeholder could be community, it could be parent, it just depends on the situation is what you're saying.
I agree, and I think that kind of the purpose here too is like, you know, the ability to target and indicate data that would, you know, produce some sort of indication of whether or not, you mean, like, this PD is effective.
Right. The other thing to just note as you read through it, let's say it was year 1, and then you see the words EG, those are just like examples. We as a group, we had kind of come up with these examples. And so we just wanted to make sure they were documented in here in case there was a idea, there was just not an idea on something like that to spark ideas. It doesn't necessarily mean that those have to be used as the idea, but that would be something that we could point to as like an example of something to do.
Yeah, I just wanted to note for the intervention for the audit curriculum, history, social studies, and ELA are both listed, but there's not like an etc. are those just like examples? Because I feel like we could also include like science classes, elective classes, like any class can talk about diversity and inclusion.
I think we had put it under there just like kind of as a year one, as a way to get started, but we can add the words etc. there. So I just added it. Would that suffice in that section? Okay. Any other recommendations that we're missing or things that people have questions about what they mean?
As I went through this, and thank you for sending it ahead of time so I could kind of get my head around it. I looked through each of them to see if there was a structural component, an educational component, and an individual component, just so that I'm like, okay, every year we're doing something that moves the big picture, moves the, the educational model and the teacher support, and then gives some direct delivery to students. So there's a few places where I see some things missing. In this first year, I just didn't see enough direct delivery to students. So I would recommend that we do something, because I think there's a lot of systems already in place that we could capitalize on and do some quick grabs to do something for students. And if it helps, I'm happy to write up a bullet point and send it over to you real quick. I'm better at wordsmithing when I type, but I was like, oh, we've got lots of educational, lots of structural review, but direct delivery is something we could do right away. And I think we don't have a strong enough goal here.
Sorry, Jen. Isn't direct delivery, though, the interventions themselves?
Yeah, I was just thinking of like student speakers, student support, like, theme issues that students something that they could grab onto that was less about a long-term process and maybe an intervention that was immediate and tangible, like right away. Like, I mean, we do great stuff. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. We bring in great speakers for alcohol awareness.
I think that recommendation falls in the governance and communication. It's
or
the last one.
professional development.
Okay.
Yeah, let's keep looking down there because I think it does. It sounds like I know we put something in there. Keep looking.
It's the second to last bullet point under governance and communication.
Oh yeah, school-wide programming. There we go.
So we're going to hold that thought on that part, Felicia. If
okay,
there's
thanks.
That people want to talk about in this first section under intervention. Maya, have you been able to, and Suzanne especially, I know you guys work specifically in the SPED department. It'd be great for you to, I know you've written a lot of this, Maya, so I know, a lot of this is words that you probably recognize.
I don't have anything to add here. Do you, Suzanne?
No, I mean, I know we're talking about SPED intervention, but it's primarily talking about gen ed interventions, correct?
Mm-hmm.
This part is, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Is there any data from SSTs regarding how much intervention?
Can you be more specific, Suzanne?
Like, I'm not sure, in SST meetings, do teachers fill out the interventions that they have, tried, or is there anywhere where we could already collect interventions that are happening?
We have that information. It's the tier 1 through tier 3 interventions that, and I believe there was a P that was just done either recently at Valley or is upcoming at Valley in regard to the intervention work. You mean like in talking about reforming the SST process. And I know that VIEW has been engaged in that work just recently because they've been conducting a few SST meetings. So we're getting like early data, but that's been work that we've been doing with the principals starting this year about trying to reform these SST processes so they're more uniform.
Do we want to add it into this, like as one of these bullet points? Yes, we do the CASP also, we do the panorama also. Just, is that something we want to just add in?
What are you adding in?
Just the SST process or SST, the SST intervention.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with SST data being added in, but I think district will have to like share like what you know, because like when you collect SST data, it is what you collect. You collect, I mean, like, you know, how many students have been SST'd? I mean, like how many of those SSTs have led to an assessment for special education?
I meant more. I meant more. You know how there's like a one sheet usually that's like, these are all the different types of interventions you can try in your classroom.
Yeah, that's not necessarily SST data. You mean like that's the tier 1 through tier 3 interventions checklist, which we do have. That is more of a resource. And I think the real question is that like, are we, you know, providing those best practices and support to our staff? Is one thing to like share like the checklist itself. It's another thing to, you mean like continue to provide ongoing PD support, which I do think is covered in the Equity Task Force recommendations.
Right, so maybe it's down in the third bullet point. It's support staff with consistent PDs to promote best intervention practices, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Should we add, oh yeah, SPED strategies, there, it's right there, sorry. With that, does that suffice?
Suzanne was bringing up SST interventions. So that's typically called tier 1 to 3 interventions, typically focusing on tier 2 interventions. Tier 1 is like all accessible. It's just, I mean, like one can sometimes it's just referred to as good teaching. And, you know, tier 2 is more targeted general education interventions, I mean, like within the classroom, where a teacher is targeting a specific skill with a student over a period of time. You know, on the elementary level, for example, like, you know, a student that struggles with OT or occupational therapy, I mean, like may have some activities that rather than doing another activity in the class, they do a targeted writing activity. I mean, like that's strategizing and focusing on, you know, forming certain words. I mean, like, but that can easily be administered in a general education setting over a period of time to practice a targeted skill. And that would come from the SST process. I would say like that type of work is still being developed as far as like it being coordinated with the SST team led by principals and with general education teachers. But like what we're focused on is the structure of SST itself and like how that information is tracked in a data bank. So like that's part of our work. You want to get in the nuts and bolts.
Right. I don't want to get in the nuts and bolts right this second.
I think
yeah,
that's good.
I don't think so. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna keep moving then to professional development section and recommendations. Comments, questions, concerns, clarifications.
So we're in the professional development section.
We're in the professional development section
Okay.
now.
Gotcha.
I guess the only thing that I noticed is just to keep everything linear with the under topics, to just change target categories to target identities, right? Just
Yeah, that got changed just now. So you're.
Oh, you did. Okay, I missed that. Sorry.
I mean, that got changed just in this conversation, like earlier.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's listed again on the next page under year 2 topic, second bullet. Yeah.
Where is it? The second time?
So where it says year 2, Jen, the second bullet.
Yeah, I see. Target identities, right, Maya?
Yeah.
Are we saying our target identities or are we just saying identities?
I think we're just saying identities.
Yeah, I think so too. I was going to suggest that.
Anything else in the professional development section?
Does it sound right? Bringing in voices from identity experience.
From multiple identities?
There you go. Thank you. Is that you, Felicia? Yeah, I figured.
And then we're on the second to the last section. It's 5:11, so I'm just watching everyone's time. It's we're gonna move to governance and communication. There's one little section highlighted. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th bullet point down. I think that has already been a recommendation. So I'm just wanting to make sure it's okay with everyone. I delete that.
Yes.
I'm
All
just
right.
doing like a spacing correction here.
Yeah, no problem. Comments, questions, clarifications needed in this section.
We have target categories again here in the last bullet. I think we wanted to put in student conversation about identity.
Yeah, that's good.
I have a comment about in the what is this called? The desired outcomes for I think it's the 4th bullet down, the district mission vision revised to reflect equity as a top district priority. Do we want to make that like, I don't know how you would do this, but I feel like when we would revise it in year 1, but you would also revise it year 2 and continue revising it year 3. So I don't know if there's like somehow we could say like continue revising that, if that makes sense.
It's like an ongoing reflection. I'm just like trying to think of the right words.
Some sort of periodic review.
Say one more time, Ray.
Periodic review. Or periodically reviews the mission. Or periodic review. We'll just sort of.
We'll put that down as placeholder language for now.
That sort of gets you to the, we're going to look at it on occasion, gives you the flexibility, doesn't box you in annual, semi-annually, or whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of like ongoing assessment.
Right.
And then this is just in relation to the mission vision statement, right? Yeah, because that's good, and I think that will reflect the board's commitment to workshop/discussion meetings where they're reviewing the mission vision. So I don't know if you want to attach it to that, but you could, because that's where it would take place.
Yeah, that's where the recommendation is to review the mission, vision, and values of the district to align with the values put forth by put forth by the ETF Senator on Equity. And then the outcome we want to see is a district mission, vision revised to reflect equity as the top district priority.
Well, it's coming.
Right. So my question is a periodic review, is it something that, we're going to do that annually anyway? Is it an annual review?
I would say that it would be an annual review because the board is committed to putting forth board goals each year. So I think that an annual review is fair. The vice president just gave a thumbs up, or soon to be vice president, subject to board approval.
Annual
Congratulations, Madam Vice President.
We're just removing a slash. It's not really a title change.
We think it sounds more powerful.
It was slash clerk.
Yeah.
Anything else in this section? If not, let's look to the last bullet point, which is HR, our last bucket.
Really quickly before we say something, the bias response team up under structural governance really appreciated the message that went out from the district last week. So thank you for those that were behind that and for being so conscientious. Really appreciate that. Love to see more of that.
I think we're going to also, there'll be a conversation about that tomorrow in the board meeting as well, or not tomorrow, sorry, on the 14th.
April 14th.
Yeah.
You almost gave me a heart attack, Jen.
Sorry, I don't know.
I should know better. I should know when
yeah.
I was like, man, I am in trouble.
Anything else we want to add here, or there additions, subtractions, comments, questions, concerns? Okay, with knowing that that's a quiet silence, I'm going to move on to the appendix. Just everyone is aware that we, when we give it to the board, I think it would be helpful for the board and the public to just see all the documents that we've reviewed and our comments and the presentation. So we'll have that as an appendix, but won't be the majority of our presentation to them. But just so
Jen, just to note, we have to add out the data sections there. Right now, we only currently have checks.
Oh no, I just got started on this section, Maggie. I haven't gone through every this is just a work in progress. I should just write that down. Somebody's watching. Thinking this is the only thing we're doing. Yeah, no, this was a work in progress. I was just starting to gather it from each of the agendas. All right, well, with that, if you have, I know I'll have another opportunity between, I know this will be spring break reading, I'm sure, but if you get a chance to please take a look at this before Friday, and if there's any additional notes or subtractions or questions or clarifications or additions, please send it to us before Friday, because the idea would be that we have some time to make it look nice in a presentation, but that this is kind of where we're at this point, where we're going to stand with recommendations as of right now.
So 2 quick questions, and I could be behind. So if I was going to grab a pen, and really this is actually not my skill set. I cheat and use all the technology, but if you wanted me to do agreements with a red pen, by Friday would be to beat the deadline for that.
That's correct.
Okay. Second question, what does the 14th look like? Like, I don't have a real visual for that, and I'm happy to support any piece of this, although I'm terrible on PowerPoint. I just don't have a visual for what it is that looks like on that night.
So I think the good news is we're going to reconvene on the 13th to flesh it out. But is Aaron's not on this call. We will send an email out by the end of this week detailing like what the board, what it looks like on the agenda. And then from that, this document will be organized in a way that's more clear. And then at that 13th meeting, it would be literally tasking out, who would like to present on these different areas of the report.
What do you need to
And
Do you
we're
need more
gonna,
clarity than that?
I don't need any more clarity. I'm impressed that this team is gonna pivot in 24 hours from review to presentation. But I have all the faith in the world in this group. But that's a big pivot.
We will have the materials out to you prior to the 13th meeting. So everybody, like we normally do with the agenda presentation, so folks can review prior to the 13th. And then the 13th can really be another working session just to answer any last questions and feel comfortable with what people are talking about.
And everybody's taking a slide. Is that how it works? Oh, I guess
That's up for discussion.
on the 13th. We got this. Got it.
We'll see where everyone's comfort level is. There's no pressure, honestly, to do it if you don't want to, or if you're really feeling like you want to do it. No problem. We'll allow whoever would like to participate a role. I know, Maggie and I can also, we obviously do this all the time, so we're comfortable doing it, but we are happy to share the baton, pass the baton, or.
I'm happy to do my part. If we go in alphabetical order, though, I'm looking around and thinking I land right in the middle. Thank you, Suzanne Connors, Vivian. This will be perfect. Maya scores.
On the 13th, too, just a friendly reminder to the world, Sherry Atwater is coming to our meeting to introduce herself and talk a little bit about her approach to consulting with staff. And just Sherry Atwater is the professional development consultant. She's great. I like her. I think I've said that already, but I do.
Great. All right. Well, with that, any other questions or concerns or things we want to talk about tonight? Jason and Maggie, do you guys want to talk at all about like how you see this moving? Like, so after this presentation, what happens next?
I'm gonna go. Maggie, you want to go? That's that VP at work right there. You're already, I can feel it. So the board will have the opportunity to review the recommendations and determine which recommendations they want to adopt, amend, or deliberate on. And then they will task yours truly with bringing it to life. And so that's when I get to work. And I can tell you, just to be prepared, have already started creating an action plan in the anticipation that these things were adopted by the board. So we're getting on it, and I do appreciate their recommendations. I think that they're solid, and I think I definitely appreciate the alignment with working towards supporting students that are performing below grade level. I mean, like that is our work, and it's a nice luxury to have board support and community support around making that a focus.
So you have an action plan while we're getting students back to school and opening a new school. There's not much going on in the world and everything. You had time to build an action plan?
Yeah, we're opening a full day kinder next year too. So
nice.
Just tell your friends. Yeah, full day kinder.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, new facility. So yeah, just keep it coming. You got
nice.
enrollment and growth goals too.
He's not busy. We've got the right person for the job right now. So thank you, Dr. Johnson, for your enthusiasm. We are so grateful.
Yeah, who's not having fun?
Thank you to this group. Really, I mean, we're really. I feel like I really appreciate you. Looking through all these things, helping us. Helping guide this work. So, looking forward to any other comments. And
after the 14th, do we all get to meet for brunch or something? Like we've never seen each other. Like,
person.
Can we get pizza or something? It seems so strange.
I think so. That'd be great. All right. Well, good night, everyone. We'll sign off then. It's 5:24, and send your comments if you have any.
Righty. Thanks.
And Felicia, we'll look forward to you wordsmithing.
Yeah.
Verb correcting, tense correcting, grammaring. Thanks.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.